Shalom.
Hi, shalom, everyone.
Welcome back.
Yeah,
Welcome back
to our humble abode.
Yeah, to our kitchen here, our dining room.
Yeah.
This is where we spend Shabbat. It's not Shabbat today, but we've had kind of busy Sabbaths, right?
Yeah.
And so we really haven't had a chance to talk about it or record ourselves or anything like that. So we thought we would do a little video.
Yeah,
right now.
absolutely.
And this is something that's kind of been like on our hearts lately. And you want to get right to it?
Let's
talk about something else?
jump right in now.
Okay, so this has been something that's been on our hearts lately because we have done a lot of videos on the Millennial Kingdom, the Millennial Reign of Yeshua HaMashiach, the 1,000-year reign, as prophesied. We do believe we're in the short season, post-millennial reign. And we've done some videos on that, and we've had a lot of conversations with people. And so something we kind of learned coming into this is there's a lot of misconceptions with the millennial reign.
And we found ourselves things we thought we knew.
Yeah, things we had been taught growing up, and thought we knew. The more we looked into it, the more we were like, oh my goodness, this is totally different when you look at it scripturally.
Yeah.
And so as we talk to people, especially people who disagree with us, and that's fine if you disagree with us, we're still searching these things out. But
we want people to come along for the journey of us discovering
the
truth.
Yeah.
It's not about being right when we come on here and being completely, absolutely dogmatic about like what we believe, because we don't know. Like we're truly studying these things out. And so I think we want people to join us in this journey, and ask the questions and pose different thoughts and opinions scripturally, of course.
Absolutely.
That's part of why we're doing these videos, is because we're continually studying it out, continually seeking out the concealed matters of Yah, I think.
Absolutely. But as we've done this, it's just we've realized, oh my goodness, there's a lot of misconceptions about this kingdom that Yahuwah established and gave to his son, Yeshua.
Yeah.
So, and there was misconceptions that we had.
Well, and I think I didn't even really fully understand, because there's so little that we know about, when, Hasatan's put in the pit, or, he's bound for 1,000 years. Yeah. There's very little even that I remember growing up learning about the millennial reign. Like truly, there wasn't a whole lot talked about it. I mean, it was more focused on
there's not
tribulation,
much talked
rapture.
About it even within scripture.
Exactly, yeah. And so I think there's just little we know, but so much to discover and to learn about it, to understand.
Yeah. So with all these things, and we've talked about this on our testimony, but a lot of other things. When Yah kind of opened my eyes to the shape of the earth, biblical cosmology. I was looking at it, and the percentages of it being probable and actually fact kept going up in my mind.
Right.
At first I was 50-50, but within, a little bit of time of studying, it became even 100%. And so the same thing with Torah as well. Right when I, came to the Sabbath, I was like 100% Sabbath, but I don't know about these other laws.
Yeah.
And slowly my percentages would go up and up and up. And that's with everything. I think we need to test all things, right? We don't immediately say, no, that's wrong. We should know by now, being in Torah, we should know by now that, maybe we need to be able to back these things up with scripture and test them out for ourselves.
Yeah.
Instead of immediately saying no, because that's what we used to do, say no to these things. But so that being said, Millennial Kingdom right now, I'm like at 95% that it's already happened.
Yeah.
And I probably started out more, I was in opposition towards it for a little bit. And then it probably went to 60 and 80%.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah,
so
it's growing.
We're still studying it out. So.
Yeah, it could change tomorrow. Our whole view on Millennial Kingdom and everything could change tomorrow.
Yeah.
But as of now, we've got, 6 or 7? I don't know how many different misconceptions we're going to talk about today.
7.
7.
So we're going to talk about the 7 misconceptions of the millennial reign.
Okay. Number 1.
Number 1.
Okay. Number 1, the Millennial Kingdom did not start in 70 AD.
Yes. Okay. So this is something that I think when you first come to this idea that the Millennial Reign's already happened, you kind of go to the preterist side. And the preterism kind of believes that this Yeshua started the Millennial Reign right there in 70 AD. And so really having to kind of look at that and figure out, is this true, you know? And that's probably the more common belief. But the reason this is like a big misconception is because, you know, when you do look in official history and you look back at 70 AD, you're like, wait a second, there's some things that don't line up here. And honestly, like, who cares what history says? You know, it has to be scriptural. So if we're going to prove anything, if we're going to prove any of these ideas or doctrines or anything that we're coming up with, it has to be scriptural, right?
Yeah.
And that's the number one thing. So,
well, we're not coming up with these things. I mean, we're trying to establish, right?
Yeah, well, we're not coming up with it, but there are false doctrines.
Well, that's true.
So there are all kinds of things that you know, that people have, these ideas. Well, if it's not scriptural,
right,
and if it's not based on just like one scripture, I mean, you can take anything and, you know, twist a word or say this means this or whatever.
So many would believe like that when Yeshua returned, the millennial reign started in 70 AD.
In 70 AD.
Okay.
Now, it's probably pretty important to say the millennial king, not the millennial kingdom, the kingdom officially received its king in 70 AD. Okay, I think that's really important to say. A kingdom was established.
Okay.
I don't want to say 70 AD, when Yeshua was resurrected.
Okay.
He went and sat on the right hand of the Father and was able to, and you know, basically took throne in his kingdom. Now,
became ruler and authority of the earth, right?
Yes. Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But Enoch 93, we did a video on Enoch 93 prophecy. Read Enoch 93. Enoch 93 gives a week. It's
week
the
by
prophecy
week
of the weeks, and it gives basically a history of the whole world up until our point in history, even beyond where we're at. And it gives a week of apostasy, a perverse generation that comes after the temple's destroyed. So after 70 AD, I think it's the 7th week, is a perverse generation. And this was the generation that was killing off the saints. This is the generation that was utterly destroying Jews, Christians, whatever. If you believed in Yeshua and if you kept the Torah, they were killing you. They were murdering you. This is what Matthew 24, when Yeshua is talking about, you'll be delivered up, you know, to the synagogues. You're going to be delivered up to these people, and they're going to murder you for my sake. This is what he's talking about. These are those people who actually got to partake in sainthood. This is also in Revelation 12. When we talk about Revelation 12, it gives you a perfect timeline that the Virgin brought forth a son, and before her son could rule his throne, rule the nations with a rod of iron, she was taken up by Elohim. And then after that, Satan comes and he goes after the Virgin and goes after, which is Israel, and then goes after the people who that keep the commandments. So this was that perverse generation. So I think it's very important when we think about the millennial reign and when it happened, to understand that after Yeshua came, after his advent, and in the 30s, whenever he resurrected, died and resurrected, that even after 70 AD, there was a whole another generation of what I believe is about 500 years. So about 500 years of a perverse generation while the millennial kingdom was being established. If you want to read more, there's some amazing prophecies within the Gospel of Kaledi. We talk about the Gospel of Kaledi a lot on this channel because it's absolutely amazing. I just ask that you test it, read it and test it. It's an amazing thing. But there's so much written about the millennial kingdom.
Can you read any of those verses?
You can read, you can read any of these, But something amazing. I mean, the gospel in the New Testament is the gospel of the kingdom. It was the good news of the kingdom. Yeshua came and he's announcing the kingdom's coming. Get ready, repent. It's coming. John was doing the same thing. So 2,000 years later, nothing's happened. Of course it happened. It was getting ready to happen. And we had to, these are there's 500-year time frame. You had all these saints dying, and those people dying, those are the ones that were waiting. And it says their works do follow them. It says, blessed are those who die from here on out, for their works do follow them, because they were actually dying. And it didn't have to wait that long.
Right.
They didn't have to wait the 5,500 years that Adam had to wait. By the way, that's a whole nother thing. I want to do a whole nother video on that and the hiding of the timeline, because between the Masoretic and the LXX, they're trying to hide something.
Yeah.
They're hiding the fact that Yeshua came as appointed and that the Millennial Kingdom came as appointed. Do you want to read some of those?
Yeah, which one do you want me to read?
Either one.
Okay. Well, let me just read Gospel Clay 21:21, which says, then while they were seated at a table, Yahusha came among them and said, "Let us take food together and rejoice, for the prophecies have been fulfilled regarding the Messiah, as it is said in the holy books. The servant of man is arisen from among those who sleep, for death has not claimed him. But these things, while fulfilling the promises, will not bring about the rule of Elohim, for this will not come while men sit waiting for signs. The people have been given that which fulfills their hopes and aspirations. Now surely they will believe in my cause and arise to sweep evil aside. Now the Ruach of truth dwells among you, though it is still out of place in a world under the rule of man."
Yeah, I mean, so he's telling you right there that the millennial reign is not going to happen right away. It's not going to happen. It requires the people to start. They have to basically bring it on.
Right.
And this is approved as well as in the four Gospels. Yeshua talks about this all the time.
Right.
The kingdom of heaven is within you.
Right.
It's an ability that you have as sons of Elohim, as the image of Elohim, to bring on the rule of Elohim.
Yeah.
And there's another verse in here. I don't know if it's the one you're going to read, but Yah says, if there's a time, or Yeshua saying, if there's a time when, oh man, I just lost my thought. Oh, read it. It might be the right verse.
Well, I think it's verse 64. It says, "Followers must, they who desire to be with me in my kingdom must stand firm, holding fast to my cause through tribulation and trial." And I think you were saying they must stand in tribulation before standing in the kingdom.
Yeah. This is the perverse generation. So there's so much more. I mean, we could talk about Gospel Kaledi and all these things, talking about what happened during this time frame, and it's absolutely amazing. To me, it's undeniable, the things that happened. But we'll go to the next one.
Okay. So the second one, total peace on earth during the Millennial Kingdom. I think that's something I definitely have had an idea that there's just total peace, complete utter peace in that 1,000-year reign. Yes,
I think this is one of the biggest things. We constantly we have people that are saying, "Where's the evidence of people living for 1,000 years, and where's the evidence of kids screaming in the background? But where's the evidence of the lamb laying down with the wolf, not the lion, but the wolf? And where's where's all this evidence? Isaiah 11, all these things,
Yeah.
And this is a big thing, because when we read in Scripture, it's like, what does Scripture say? And I just mentioned Isaiah 11. Isaiah 11 specifically says, "In my holy mountain, no one's going to be hurt.
Yeah.
No one's going to be hurt."
Yeah.
It's in his holy mountain. Okay, this is the mountain of the congregation. This is the Isles of Departure. This is written in Gospel Kaledi, also in the Book of Britain. This is written so many places, talking about, and especially you read the books of Prester John. There was a place where
I think you're jumping to almost number 3, but keep going.
Oh, I am? Am I?
Well, you talked about the temple.
I'm not.
Oh, you're not? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. But so in these, there was a place that that did experience peace.
Yeah.
There's times, there's places, things written about so many, a group of people that lived up north that didn't get sick. And you have all these paintings, all these things dealing with lions with people. They got unicorns with them. There's people hanging out with leopards.
Yeah.
I mean, these things aren't hurting them.
Yeah.
And but specifically when we read Isaiah 11, it does tell you this is only in my holy mountain.
Right.
I think it's also important. Zechariah 14.
Right.
It tells you in Zechariah 14 that the nations who don't come up to Jerusalem. Now, this is the real Mount Zion, not the daughter Mount Zion.
Right.
But this is Zechariah 14 tells you the nations that don't come up will not receive rain. So that tells you right there that there are some nations who are going to sin during the millennial reign.
Right.
They will not sin. So, they will sin.
Yeah.
So they're going to, there's not perfect peace.
Right.
There still is death.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of destruction. And even when we go back to the Enoch 93 prophecy, week 8 is the 8th week of righteousness. So for the Enoch 93 prophecy, the 8th week of righteousness, you have a sword's given to the righteous. And this is prophesied all throughout the prophets. Okay, remember, God does nothing without revealing it to his prophets first.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know why I was telling you that. You know that. But,
Well, no, but I
anyways,
appreciate it.
But anyways, like a sword was given to the righteous to combat evil. Okay, during this time, and this is during the millennial reign of Yeshua, and we find that in all the prophets, in the destruction of Edom, that they will inhabit the waste places. They're going to destroy all these places, and they're going to basically exact vengeance by the hand of Yahweh. So there is a war going on. It's not total peace.
Yeah.
And also in Ezekiel 36, we have the all through Ezekiel 36 and on. It talks about the prince being Yeshua, the branch of David, performing sin sacrifices.
Right, and oblations.
And oblations. Why is there sacrifices going on in the Millennial Kingdom? And why is if the Torah's done away with, what are we doing sacrifices for? Obviously, so that's beyond this conversation. But if there's no sin, why are we doing sin sacrifices?
Sure.
We also have in Isaiah 65:20 says a child shall die at 100 years.
Yeah.
So there will still be death, or there was still death in the Millennial Kingdom.
Yeah.
So that is something to look to. I think we do get a lot of pushback and saying, well, people should have lived, much longer, and people should have lived forever, and there were people who lived forever, and they were the saints.
Right.
They didn't partake in death in the Millennial Kingdom.
Right.
But there's still death going on.
Right.
We as children post millennial reign, we get to enjoy some of the inheritance of that.
That's true.
And it's when you look into our past. Even as early as the 1800s, I mean, these people who enjoyed the inheritance of that, the land was truly blessed.
Yes.
The land everywhere was just immensely blessed. There's so many more animals. Trees grew huge. There are some just old, pictures of trees.
Yeah.
It's incredible what was actually growing in times past.
Yeah.
And our earth right now is not blessed at all. It's cursed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looks good, right? Because of technology and all these modern conveniences, but I feel like that's just continual products of the watchers. What they have come down and taught man, over time. And I think that the things that we see as good, like this, health and wealth and this idea that we're supposed to be blessed on this earth, I think it's wrong. I mean, the idea of like the world's definition of like, #blessed, sorry, but
being blessed.
It's not. I mean, we're not supposed to have, this life isn't supposed to be easy, even in a post-millennial kingdom state, but we should be able to look around. Yah's creation is beautiful. We live on 18 acres. I can see his creation. I can see his hand of blessing, right? On our land and the fruit of our labor and things like that. But we live in a world that is degrading rapidly. The wickedness and the evil in this world is at an all-time high.
Yeah, and our hand really...
Go ahead. I'm just saying the time of deception. I mean, there's more deception than ever before.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere, and it's on the news, it's in technology, it's on social media. We don't even know what's real or fake anymore. I mean, because of AI and everything else, it's incredible to me.
Yeah. And I've said this before, but if this is not the short season, the devil needs to take notes.
Yeah.
Because this right now is what it would look like. And so we'll go to the next one.
Okay, sure. So where is the third temple?
Yeah, so that's another misconception is where's the third temple? Because we're supposed to have a third temple for the millennial reign. Now, I think this is really important. I would love to do a whole nother video of this. I do believe the third temple is still here. I do believe we all know it.
Based on what?
Based on all pre-1500 maps. So everything pre-1500 of Jerusalem seems to show the third temple as the Dome of the Rock. And I know
what is now known as the Dome of the Rock.
What is now known as the Dome of the Rock.
Okay.
So I know a lot of people are going to just go
jump on that.
Crazy about that and say, no, that's not true.
It's okay.
But just do your research. In all the early maps, that specific building is called the Temple of Solomon. and a lot of the early maps, Jerusalem has a coastline. So I do believe that that would have been the third temple. Now it's really important to understand too. Third temple specifically is not prophesied. We're not awaiting a lot of. I think this is more of a Zionist kind of movement. Zionist idea is we are awaiting a third temple. Also, Christianity pushes it really hard because of Second Thessalonians. Paul talks about the Antichrist. He has to come down and he's going to stand in the temple of Elohim and say he is Elohim.
Right.
Now, Paul wrote that when there was a temple. And so he's specifically talking about the temple that was there,
Right.
Which I believe he was probably talking about Nero or Titus, which Titus could have just been another Nero. So
Right.
another Caesar.
Oh, that's good.
So,
yeah.
I think he's talking about the Antichrist of the time,
Yeah.
who was the Antichrist. So I think specifically he's talking about that. Now, there are many Antichrists. Not to say that it's not going to happen again. The Zionists definitely want to build a third temple
Yeah.
and put their leader in it. So it could totally happen again. But specifically, it's not prophesied that there is a specific third temple.
Yeah. Prophetically, there's 4, right?
Prophetically, there's 4, yeah. Ezekiel gives you an outline of a temple, and Revelation gives you an outline of a temple. Sorry, I was looking at sheep.
Okay.
But it looked like
It's in the fence. It's a bear, right?
yeah,
It's in the fence. Okay.
yeah. Anyways, we're looking at our sheep. Sorry. Okay, so there we have a temple which was in Jerusalem. I think this is still something I'm studying out, but I think this temple that existed during the Millennial Reign was maybe a counterfeit. So the Temple of Solomon, which I just mentioned as the Dome of the Rock, could have been a counterfeit.
Right.
But the actual temple that exists in the heavens, and this is the giant cube or the giant pyramid, it's described in Revelation by John
As New Jerusalem.
as New Jerusalem.
yeah.
Yes, and it will come down after Gog Magog war, and that's really important to understand. The temple is not prophesied to come down. It's not prophesied to come down until Satan's release and the Gog
Right.
Magog war.
You're saying it's not prophesied to come down during the Millennial Kingdom.
During the Millennial
Yeah,
Kingdom,
okay.
yes. So, not to say they didn't build a temple. The Dome of the Rock could have been the temple during the Millennial Reign.
The Temple of Solomon.
I say Dome of the Rock. Please understand, I'm meaning the Temple of Solomon according to seems to be every single map pre-1500.
I think it'd be good to show a map if you can insert a map, like an
I
example
want to do a
of that.
whole video on this
Right.
because there's so many maps, but I will show a
But
map on there.
where it shows a temple, like a pre-1500s map that shows that. But yeah.
And by the way, there was a coastline. I think this is so important because this is Revelation 12. And the devil went after the woman. The woman is the virgin.
Wait,
She is Israel.
Yeah.
He went after the woman, Israel,
Yeah.
with a flood. Okay? He tried to flood her, but the earth helped Israel. So the earth swallowed up the waters to help Jerusalem.
Right.
Now, I think that's why it's not on a coastline anymore. So I do think that this Jerusalem we know now, there's just total ruins. Like,
Yeah.
where did these ruins come from? There's a lot of things left over, but anyways, that's a big thing because I think a lot of people are looking for a third temple
Yeah.
to start their millennial kingdom when they don't realize it's already been.
Yeah.
It's already been built, and what we're really looking forward to is the fourth temple. Who cares about the third one? The fourth, the actual temple that we get to enjoy and we get to go to, paradise, the city of Mashiach.
Yeah.
We get to actually go up to this thing. So
Yeah.
it'll come down to us if we are alive and
Yeah.
remain. But
Did you want to talk about the camp of the saints not being in Jerusalem, or did you kind of?
well, yes, I did talk about this. You're right. I did talk a little bit about this.
Yeah.
The camp of the saints. Now, this is really important if we believe we're in the short season. During the short season, at the close of the short season, the devil gathers, Satan gathers all nations against the camp of the saints. And this is called the Gog Magog War. By the way, I don't think this is the Israel that we're experiencing right now. I know this would probably be a heated debate with people. I don't know why, but some people will get mad when you say that Israel's not Israel. But
We don't know for sure. But
we don't know for sure. But in all the ancient writings, the camp of the saints is not where it's at. It's not where it's at. There is an actual camp of the saints back where they previously existed on the Mount of the Congregation. If you read the book of Adam and Eve, they came off the mountain and couldn't go back.
Yeah.
So everyone, the saints, actually got to go back to the mountain.
Right.
And this is the Mount of the Congregation. This is the island of departure. This is the city of the great king. This is in Psalms. Psalms 81.
48?
Psalms 48.
That's the moon.
Okay, Psalms 48, yes.
I think.
Psalms 48, beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth, Mount Zion, in the extreme parts of the north, the city of the great king. These are the extreme parts of the north. And I want to do, once again, we're talking about these videos. I don't want to mean like we're doing videos, but I just want to there's so much information about this one subject.
Yeah.
It's like we should talk a whole different time about this.
Sure.
About the camp of the saints being in the north.
Yeah.
Specifically, what we know as the North Pole.
Okay.
Are you still with us? Okay. Number 4.
Messiah only reigns 1,000 years.
Yes. Messiah only reigns 1,000 years.
That's the misconception.
This is a huge one. Yes, this is a misconception. Okay. This is a huge one.
Yeah.
Does Messiah reign 1,000 years? Yes, he does. Okay. But he sat down on his throne specifically in the year 30, somewhere around there. Okay.
When he died.
When he died and resurrected.
Yeah.
When he was crucified and resurrected, he went up, sat on the right hand of the Father on his throne and ruled with an iron rod, while Yahuwah, his father, made every enemy his footstool. The last enemy to destroy is death. Okay? Right then he started ruling. Okay, the kingdom of Elohim started right there.
Yeah.
This is very important because the kingdom, well, I wouldn't say it started right there. It's always been, but the king took his throne right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the kingdom is not just 1,000 years
It's forever.
long. It's forever.
Yeah.
Okay, so specifically the reason we talk about 1,000 years, Yeshua does rule 1,000 years. Okay, but the reason he rules 1,000 years because the devil is put in the bottomless pit, chained up for 1,000 years. So this is the huge misconception. This is why we don't necessarily see it in history. We're like, well, where did this begin? We do see it, but it's kind of hidden.
Yeah.
So why don't we see this 1,000 years? And
Right.
specifically, what we're looking for is 1,000 years of not Yeshua roaming the earth, but 1,000 years of the devil not here.
That's true.
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And we do
Good
see
point.
that. We do see that. Our controllers gave us an official history that tells us this 1,000 years is called the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
When the King of Darkness is actually in darkness.
Yeah.
They call it the Dark Ages when actually it was the ages of light.
Yeah.
You know, and we said it before, this was the medieval period. It was between two evils. We had the perverse generation, Enoch 93,
Yeah.
after 70 AD,
Yeah.
and then you have the Age of Deception,
Yeah.
which is what we're in right now, the short season.
Yeah.
So medieval is the time between the medievals. It's the middle part between two evils.
Yeah.
It's the 1,000-year reign of Mashiach. Once again, it's not just 1,000 years. He's always reigning.
Yeah.
If you ask any Christian right now, who's reigning?
Yeah.
Who's reigning in the heavens? Who's reigning?
Jesus.
Yeah, it's Yeshua. He's reigning because we all know he's reigning.
Yeah.
Okay, he never stopped reigning.
That's right.
So I think this is a huge misconception because people are like, well, if the millennial kingdom happened, where's Yeshua?
Yeah.
Well, he's sitting on the throne just like he's always been sitting on the throne.
That's right.
He
never stopped.
Yeah, the problem is the devil's released now. And that's totally obvious especially when you look at the 1800s and the Industrial Revolution,
Yeah.
the reintroduction of the Watchers. There's so much that has happened in the last 200 years.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
is there anything else in here?
Yeah. No, I think you got it. The kingdom is forever, but
Yes.
it says in
Go
ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Just real quick, in Daniel says it 6 times. I think Daniel 2:44, 4:3, 4:34, 6:26, 7:14, and 7:27. Daniel tells you the kingdom is forever, and that's a huge deal. So,
Yeah.
Especially when we look at Daniel's statue in Daniel 2.
Yeah.
It's not Daniel's statue. Nebuchadnezzar's dream. The statue of Nebuchadnezzar's dream in Daniel 2.
Yeah.
We see that the kingdom comes down at the very end. And we've said this before, but we believe the millennial kingdom is in the cankles of the statue. It's between the calves, the legs, and the ankles.
Yeah.
And there's reasons to believe that. We need to go into that in greater detail. But this is just a huge misconception as to how long this lasts. It's forever. It's forever.
Yeah.
The 1,000-year reign specifically is just how long the devil was in the pit.
Yeah. And it's really like a time marker for us to understand where we are now, really, ultimately.
Yeah.
To help us see that we're, in a season possibly where the dragon deceives the whole earth, right? Into believing that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, what a great lie to make us believe that the millennial kingdom didn't happen, because we have so many ideas of what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think this could be a whole nother subject right here, but what is this?
You got 3 more.
Oh, I'll talk about it right there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Okay, so 5th misconception is that there are the first and second resurrections, right?
First and second resurrections, yes.
So what's the misconception, I guess?
I think the misconception is they're like, well, when has the resurrection happened? You know, when has all this happened? I mean, we're going based on what people have kind of told us. And people have problems with, you know, this belief. Obviously, this is not like a huge issue whether or not you believe the millennial kingdom happened or not. But coming out of deception and out of the lies of this world is such a big thing when you want to follow Yeshua or follow Yahuwah, you know, follow his ways.
Yes.
And coming out of the lies, you know. And I think we all have a lot to come out of. We all have so many lies to unlearn. And but anyways, first resurrection. The first one would have been the saints of the Most High. Now we did just read something in the Gospel of Nicodemus. It specifically calls the resurrection that happened in 30-ish AD with the crucifixion of Yeshua. There was specifically a resurrection right there. I believe this is the first fruits resurrection. And then you wait 490 or 49 days for your Shavuot, which would be 490 years, 500 years for the first resurrection. And the first resurrection would have been the saints. These are the people who don't die again.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important to understand too, is this is where we get saint worship within the Roman Catholic Church.
Yeah.
A lot of these saints were being worshipped. You know, they were going around still preaching the gospel, preaching grace and mercy. They're just saying, hey, return to the kingdom. He's here.
Yeah.
He's ruling. Come on.
Yeah.
Same thing they're preaching now.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. It's the same thing they're preaching now.
Yeah.
Like in churches, hey, come on, repent, return to Yeshua.
Yeah.
Except then it was actually real.
Yeah.
And I think then people still didn't believe.
Yeah.
Still like, he's not here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But this is where we get saint worship and things like that. And so the second resurrection happens after the millennial reign.
About when, like time frame wise?
Well, it's not specifically clear. It just says it happens when the 1,000 years is completed.
Okay.
So it could have happened in the 1800s. You know, we've talked about Cabbage Patch Babies before. That's a different subject. I'm just running over these really quick.
Right.
So there is a possibility the population growth in the 1800s just skyrocketed, according to official census that governments have done. But we could be still experiencing another resurrection.
Yeah.
So I think what's important is we know there's one resurrection in Scripture that's already happened.
Yeah. It's in the canon.
Yeah, it's in the canon. And a lot of people just overlook this.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like, it's overlooked. It's just kind of like, it's.
Yeah, we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it. And like I said, the Gospel of Nicodemus actually says there was many more who resurrected beyond Jerusalem.
Right.
That they had to go to a different land where they found tons of people resurrected.
Right.
So there was quite a bit that Yahusha freed from Sheol. So I think that's, is there anything else?
I think you covered it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Number 6. The buildings and technology are not the kingdom. So I think that's been a lot of people's kind of like challenge questions. You know, all these pictures that we've shared. You know, these old buildings and all this stuff isn't the kingdom.
Isn't the kingdom specifically, and I think that is a problem because a lot of these people know of these cathedrals. There is a lot of paganism in them.
Right.
There's a lot of these cathedrals have gargoyles on them and all kinds of.
Sure.
Just things, whether or not they've been added in later or what. There's a lot of things within technology, and that was our water, by the way. But anyways, there's a lot of technology and things, these buildings and stuff that we've posted pictures of before. I'm sure you've seen many pictures of these old buildings. It's just amazing structures that people built. This is what I was talking about saint worship.
Yeah.
You know, you have St. Peter's Basilica. I mean, these things were built for saints. They were actually worshiping them.
Yeah.
And but they're not the kingdom. I think these things are specifically what's in 2 Baruch 74, 1 through 3. We don't have to read it
Well,
unless
you
you want.
just say it.
These
it
are
talks about.
these are honestly, it's just the works of man's hands were blessed. So men's hands, everything they went to do was blessed during this time because you didn't have Satan to destroy it.
Yeah, they're evidence basically of a time of peace.
Yeah,
evidence of a time of fruitfulness. Evidence of a time of being blessed.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and if you read, I don't have it in here, but it's in Second Esdras, and it talks about I wish I remembered what. Anyways, I'll put it up here. But Second Esdras talks about where the kingdom of Yahuwah is, there shall no man's building stand. Basically, he was shown the kingdom, and it was in the middle of a field. There was nothing around it.
Yeah.
Because no man's building is supposed to stand there. This is when we get any kind of command to build an altar. We're not supposed to lift a tool upon it.
Yeah.
Because you'll desecrate it by lifting a tool upon it.
Yeah.
So these buildings and even the technology, a lot of people talk about free energy and things like that within the Millennial Kingdom.
Right.
It was just the blessings of the world. It was just the blessings that proceeded from the kingdom.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the kingdom.
Yeah, like you said, the peace, like everything really was all contained within Yah's holy mountain,
yes,
right?
Yes, but in the holy mountain, the mountain of the congregation, this is where you lived forever. This is where there was rivers flowing with honey and milk and wine and oil.
Right.
These were amazing things, and people got to partake of the tree of life. This was an incredible place. And honestly, there is a building prophesied as the kingdom, but I think it's going to look totally different from what we think of as buildings.
Yeah.
We see even as early as the 1800s, people's hands were blessed in the works they did. But every year after that, just look at our history. Everything has been, we can see the blessings of it, but everything has just been tainted, like you were talking about before. Like I go and work today, like in the 21st century, and try to build something. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. It feels like everything I do is cursed.
You built your own home.
I know, but we built our own home, but it's like, but even building it, like, and building now, and I'm not talking about an age perspective, but it's like, there's something definitely right now where it seems like things are cursed.
Yeah.
Even when you work on them,
do.
it's harder to do to them.
Yeah.
The day is shorter.
Right. Well, and things just don't last as long.
Yeah.
Homes don't last as long. Materials
Exactly.
used. I mean, you see these structures that are still standing today, and how did they do all of that?
With horse and buggy.
Yeah. That's what we were told.
That's the official story. Well, but any of these buildings, they didn't have cranes. They didn't have these things to make these megalithic structures.
Yeah.
And they were just blessed.
Yeah.
They were just blessed. The works of their hands were blessed. Time was longer. You worked for a whole day, a man could build something.
Oh, yeah.
That he wasn't.
Time is shorter.
Yeah. And there's so much written. Something I'm going through right now that's amazing is the Book of Britain and the Colburn writings. I don't want to say Colburn Bible because people will freak out. But it's incredible because it talks specifically about this time.
Yeah.
And it talks about the works of men's hands being blessed. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
But these were just direct relationship with what was going on in the actual kingdom up north. And the world was just blessed.
Yeah.
And by the way, all early maps do not show snow up there. Neither do they show it in the Antarctica region.
Yeah.
There was not snow.
It's green.
Yeah, it's green. There was tons of animals, different kinds of people, different kinds of flora, everywhere.
Yeah.
This world was a completely different world that we know of it today.
Yeah.
Is that
I'll
it?
let you wrap it
Well,
up.
I think that's just real quick. I really do think that's a good thing because a lot of these people see these buildings and they say, well, no, this couldn't have been part of the kingdom because they're worshiping St. Peter's or
pagan worship.
Yeah, it's pagan worship.
Yeah.
Or we've been in. If you there's a guy that R-I-S-E Rise R-E-S Round Saturn's Eye.
Yeah.
R-S-E.
Yeah.
Round Saturn's Eye I used to watch, and he's on YouTube, and he went into St. Peter's Basilica, and he was like filming, all this stuff is so much paganism.
Yeah.
All these symbols and
Yeah.
all these things. I mean, 9/11 everywhere. They love 9/11.
Yeah. So how could that have? Yeah.
How could that been a part of the Millennial Kingdom? And it's the same thing we deal with today. We have so many, when we talk about the Freemasons and all kinds of things, so many things that seem to be worshiping Yah.
Churches even.
Yeah.
Christmas
They
trees
talk-
in the middle of
Yes, yes. They talk about worshiping Yah, talk about worshiping God. But yet there's so much paganism associated because it's not pure worship.
Yeah.
I think this is where we got Christianity and everything, because
Yeah.
they're all trying to do the right thing. They're trying to acknowledge the sun during the millennial reign, trying to acknowledge Yahuwah.
Same thing as we were doing with
But
the
not in
Israelites
truth.
making the golden calf.
Yes.
I mean, they were trying to have a celebration, a
Yes.
feast for Yah, and they made a golden calf.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, truly, even in the millennial kingdom, like you said, that's
Exactly.
what caught. I mean, there was sin. There was still sin creeping in, even then.
Yeah,
You know,
even
doesn't
in
mean
the
it wasn't a
millennial
time of blessing and there wasn't a time of peace, but it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a time of perfection either. So
Yeah, and I don't think we ever experienced that. Specifically when we're talking about Enoch 93.
yeah,
Beyond our point, there are many weeks. So there's always going to be this battle between evil and good.
yeah.
So I don't think we'll
Until
ever.
the very final battle. When
No.
you
What I'm saying is it's
sorry.
always a battle of evil and good, even after that, I think.
Yeah.
But within the kingdom, perfection.
Yeah, I just
that's
meant-
where we desire to go.
Yeah, I
Always.
just meant after the battle of Gog and Magog, and when.
Yeah, he's gonna
when
recreate the
Yahuwah,
earth, yeah.
creates a new heaven and new
Yeah,
earth.
but
so.
just like with the flood, I mean, he
created
recreated
a new earth.
the earth,
Yeah.
and still he allowed. Yah still has mercy on Hasatan. He still has mercy on the seed of Cain, and allowed the seed of Cain to bypass the flood and still
Yeah.
come out through him.
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows how
You're
it's
right,
going to
though.
end?
Yeah.
But anyways, okay. So our last one.
Go ahead.
Oh, fear of missing out. I think that's a huge one. It's a misconception because I think a lot of people are kind of mad.
What are we waiting for if we're not waiting for Yeshua's return?
Yeah, yeah. It's mainly because of what we've been indoctrinated with, especially within Christianity. And with the way we grew up
Sure.
Baptist, and everything was like, Yeshua's coming back, Jesus is coming back, get ready for
Yeah.
the rapture.
Yeah.
And I think this is a huge deal with people trying to understand millennial reign.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid. They're afraid, well, what do we got to look forward to? We just lost out on millennial reign. And
true.
something I've heard before, someone say is like, none of us got to decide what age we were going to grow up in.
Yeah.
None of us got to decide. I would have loved to live around when Yeshua was coming.
Yeah.
I would have loved to seen Yeshua, when he walked in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been in the garden. That would have been incredible.
Yeah.
There's many other times in history, in
Yeah.
biblical history, where I would have loved to live.
Right.
In the time of David.
Yeah.
But we didn't get to choose that.
Yeah.
So when we look at, well, what do we got to look forward to? Like, who do we think we are?
That's so true.
Yah put us in this specific moment
Yes.
for a reason, right? What's
Yes.
the verse that said you were born for such a time as
as
this?
this.
So we were born for specifically this time to live in Satan's short season.
Yeah.
There were some people who got to partake in the millennial reign. And I'm sure it was incredible, okay? But there's still sin. They still had to battle the same things, and still the same thing was expected of them.
Yeah.
What's expected of all of us, this is in
Yes.
Ecclesiastes, the whole duty of man
Yes.
is to fear Elohim and keep his commandments.
It has not changed.
It hasn't
From
changed.
day one to whatever year we're actually in.
Yeah. So nothing's changed. Whether or not we're expecting the millennial reign or whether or not we're post-millennial reign, children waking up in the age of
Yeah.
deception, we still are expected to keep the Torah of the Most High.
Yeah, but it's like what you were alluding to, and what you asked is like, you've asked me this, do we really think we deserve sainthood? Do we think our generation, the age we're living in, us ourselves deserve sainthood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
These
I don't
saints that were killed after Yeshua during the perverse generation,
Yeah.
the 500 years after Yeshua, they gave up everything for the Messiah. They gave up everything for Mashiach, everything to live a sinless life,
Yeah.
which is, by the way, is keeping Torah. Sin is transgression of the Torah. So to live sinless, you have
Yeah.
to keep the Torah.
Yeah.
They gave up everything for
Yeah.
him and died and were killed in just
Tormented
horrific,
and-
horrific deaths.
Yeah.
And all for the sake of the kingdom.
Yeah.
These people deserve sainthood.
Yeah, they brought on, like you said, they brought on the rule of Elohim.
Exactly. Yeah, they actually put the sword in their own hands, brought on the rule of Elohim, and when they did that, Yeshua came and rescued them.
And they deserved it.
Yeah, and they deserved it. And so for us to sit here and think, oh, we're waiting the millennial kingdom, I'm going to be a saint. Man, I know the sin that I've committed in my life. And
the transgressions of the earth.
Yeah. We're
mourning. Like we're sitting here, I was just sharing, I think that's in Ezekiel where it talks about the mark of Yah, right? Mourning for the abominations of the earth. Yeah. And I think it's a small population, but I think we are mourning for what we're seeing happen in Yah's earth. You know, people are just desecrating it, and they are mocking the creation of man and woman, you know, and that unity of man and woman solely. I mean, it's in everything, and we're, what you said, we're destined for judgment. Like our generation is destined for judgment. Yeah. I think because of it.
Yeah. I mean, we don't deserve to be saints.
No.
So there's a lot of people like in this kind of idea of fear of missing out, the millennial reign. A lot of people have said, how would they hide this? They're like, they can't hide this. Yeah. You can't hide the millennial reign. Nowhere in Scripture does it say that it's going to end or it's going to stop and we're going to be
right.
But it does. Yeah. Specifically Revelation 20 says the saints. Hasatan has to gather the whole nations to go against the saints. Yeah. Now, how does he do that after the millennial reign?
Yeah.
How in the world, if the land's completely blessed, how does he gather the whole world to go against that which made it blessed?
Yeah.
Well, he has to convince the whole world that Mashiach has not returned.
Yeah.
That the millennial reign hasn't happened.
Yeah.
He has to convince the whole world that, hey, we can be better. Yeah. We can live better without Yeshua's reign.
It's true, man.
And so
that's a good point.
Here we are, 21st century, and everything we have today, all the technology we have, we think is better than Yah's actual creation.
Yeah.
Than Yah's actual goodness that he created. And in fact, with this technology, we're destroying what he created that was so good.
Yeah.
Like we've been saying, the world's just completely condemned right now.
We're creating an alternate reality. Not we, but the world is creating an alternate reality where you don't like your life, put on some goggles, and you can be whoever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really scary.
Yeah.
Where we're at right now. I mean, we're allowing the deception. Mm-hmm. We're literally saying, I want to be deceived. I want my life to... I hate my life. I despise my life. I want to like check out and go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So we're literally deceiving ourselves with our own lives, into believing that we can have a different life. I don't know.
Yeah. I think as with all things that Yahuwah wants to give us, they're very simple, and they're not what we think we need. Right. They're very simple, and just
he gave them manna. Yeah. They wanted quail. He gave them manna. He gave them food in the wilderness, and they wanted quail. Yeah. They wanted more. They were dissatisfied with manna. They were just sick of manna.
That's an incredible kind of analogy with the millennial reign.
Yeah.
Like he fed them manna. So during the millennial reign, he fed us. Gave us just took care of the world.
Yeah.
But we desired the delicacies of Egypt. We wanted to go back to Egypt. We desired quail. So he gives you your desires of your heart. So he led us out of the millennial reign. Said, oh, fine. You want the pagans still? Go back to paganism. Yeah, I'll let you out of the millennial reign. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, we talked about this. The saints are still there. Mm-hmm. I believe they're still participating in the millennial reign, whether it's in the third heaven or it's still here on earth. Yeah. There is a verse in Ascension of Isaiah that says the saints left their bodies and went up to dwell in the heavens. So ultimately, we're still waiting for the kingdom to come down to us.
Yeah.
Although it did rain 1,000 years, it's still raining right now. Mm-hmm. Hasatan's here. He's blinded us from it. He's kept us from it. And we have to wait for the regeneration of the whole earth and the kingdom to come down from Yahweh. So.
Yeah.
Is that it? There's still many more misconceptions, I'm sure, that even us, we got to find things still that we have to unlearn.
But regardless, I think you've said this before, and I'll just repeat it again, that, and you just talked about it here, but really nothing changes. Like the duty of man doesn't change, but our desire to walk as our Messiah walked, to follow the Torah. He was the walking, living Torah. He showed us how to walk it perfectly, and how to love one another. I think all of that is still what we are called to do. No matter where we're at, where we think we are, it's amazing to study these things out, because it does feel like prophecy, and from a timeline perspective, is coming to life biblically. Like we're seeing it from Daniel to Enoch to Baruch, Isaiah, everywhere. We're seeing so much of it, but like our jobs as the children of Yah, like our duty as the children of Yah is to fear him and keep his commands. So no matter where we're at, if we're right or we're wrong, it doesn't matter, it's to be abiding in his eternal Torah, to be walking in his Torah, to be reading his word, to be diligently like keeping our eyes up, looking for the kingdom to come, or it's looking down, it's praying, and it's seeking his word and seeking to know him more. Like I feel like that is something that we are missing out right now. If we're missing out on anything, it's understanding him to the desiring to know him with our full heart.
Well, isn't that what all these things have taught us? When we came to the biblical cosmology, the flat earth, ultimately it brought us to the Torah. So here we are again, another truth, another lie has been discovered. The millennial reign actually happened. If you're on that side of it and you're not in Torah and you're seeing that, oh my goodness, millennial reign happened. This is meant to bring you back to the Father's word. This is meant to bring you back to the truth. This is Psalm 119, 142. The truth is the Torah. That's the ultimate thing. That's what we all should be following, is the Torah. This is the thing that's been hidden from humanity since day one. Since day one, Hasatan's been telling us not to keep the commandments. It is the great deception. So if you are, someone who is, you're like, oh, Millennial Kingdom, I can definitely see it, but you're not following Torah. I would say study it out. Ask Yah to open your eyes, because that truly is.
That's the truth.
That's it. It's the whole duty of man, is to keep the Torah. So keep the Torah and fear Elohim. That's it. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And so all these things just bring us back to the word. That's it. Flat earth, conspiracies, millennial reign, all these things, while they're interesting, we can't get stuck in them, because they all should just bring us back to the word. So, but anyways, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Shalom. Have a great day.
All right. Bye.